I'm going to give the whole talk with my right hand, my right thumb over because it makes me feel like I'm attractive. Thank you. I'm so fortunate to have that. Well, welcome. You guys are awesome. What a great weekend. I'm excited because I'm not a speaker. I'm an attendee. I really feel like this is so much fun. I didn't have to speak today. I've had a great weekend so far. So thanks for having me out. Thanks for being here. I have some books down here at the end. We're going to have a lot of fun. Now, I'm going to tell you less and less about me. My goal in the next several minutes is to give you so much cool stuff that you can start using it tomorrow. If every one of you has one tip that you can gather from me and tactically use that, then I will have been successful. So let's walk through really quickly Social Media Boot Camp. What are we covering, Josh? Great question. First, I'm going to give you 3 words to be safe on social media. Safety first. I have a little baby sailboat in Los Angeles, and I took the Coast Guard class, and I told them, I said, safety first, because I'm going to take a lot of people out, and if there is a storm or something bad, I want to know how to save lives first. Second, I want to learn how to go fast. Then I'm going to give you a tactical tip so we can go fast. Next, I'm going to give you a messaging formula. No matter what network you're on, I'm going to show you exactly how to approach it. Tomorrow, 1 week from tomorrow, 1 year from tomorrow, and 5 years from tomorrow. Josh, social media changes every day. Let me show you how we're going to approach it. Then I'm not going to show you the anatomy of a great Facebook post. I have a video on that for free that you're all going to get an access to afterward. We're limited on time. I'll show you some website tips. I'm going to give you email anatomy. We're going to look at about 10 to 12 emails. Then we're going to look at some LinkedIn tips. And I know this is going to be powerful for all of us because we're all interviewing. Now, I interview every day, even though I own the firm. It's called pitching. It's called dealing with clients. That is an interview. I have 7 to 9 bosses. They're all clients. I am not self-employed. I don't like to say that because I think it gets me a little cocky. Nothing you're going to see up here today acts like, well, in fact, let me just start over. The bad news is I am not a social media expert. I'm not a guru. I'm not a social media strategist. What I am, unfortunately, is a guy that's really good at making mistakes. And over the course of the last 5 years, I've been able to make some great mistakes, come up with some formulas that overcome those mistakes, and brands ask us, Josh, show us your formulas. Show us how to avoid all these little problems. So we're going to move into some Google SEO tips so you can find out what you look like, both logged in and logged out on Google. And then we're going to open it up for some Q&A, and I'm going to give you some secret next steps. And then I have some Instagram videos for you and some tools and apps, too, that you can download as videos. Before we get started, let me tell you 30 seconds about me so you know why I'm standing up here, the big dork that I am. I started at Disney in marketing many years ago. I'm 34 years old now. I was 20 years old. I was in USC, the West Coast USC. And I got an internship in there because I was really good at selling myself. And I was a video editor. Even though I know I'm a businessman, they said, hey, come on in and edit on an Avid. And I learned them. Long story short, I got into Disney as a video editor, and I jumped over to the marketing department, which is where I really belong as a human being. Then I developed a technique, a direct response technique, and I got in a lot of trouble at Disney because I was renegotiating with vendors. I was trying to do new things from my cubicle that were good in the long run, and my father said, well, I own a company with a couple hundred employees. You're doing a great thing. But Disney hated it. I was not a part of their mold. So I ended up leaving Disney and trying my technique in politics. I said, well, if I'm really good at what I'm doing as a marketer, I can get a lot of people to vote for me. Ran for politics, ended up losing by about 400 votes in Hermosa Beach, California. I ran against the mayor. He was an incumbent. I was the youngest person on the ballot. I had a lot less money. No one knew who I was, but I was very good at knocking on doors. I wasn't shy. I followed up with email, Twitter, Facebook, and I had great printed materials. Didn't have a wife or kids, but I had a dog in all my photos. I was very good at saying, who's my target audience? How do I win them over? Use what you're good at. I'm going to show you how to use what you're good at today. And then I started giving away this formula in speeches. I said, hey, big brands, you're no different than politics. You're selling to the same people. Politicians are trying to win their vote, but Neutrogena is trying to get them to buy skincare. And Disney's trying to get them to go to a park, and so on. So brands started listening, and all of a sudden, as I was giving away all these tips for free, which you're going to see me do today, I started getting invited to give away more tips. They said, Josh, we like all these failures you've made. Turn the formulas for success into a speech and keynote.
And I've had the opportunity over the last 3 years to keynote about 115 times. Now, I'm not a professional speaker. I do get paid for it, but I don't consider myself a speaker. I consider myself somebody that learns from failure, turns it into formulas, gets very confident about those formulas, because I've been down in the trenches, and then I'm very good at expressing that. So about 2,500 individual firms have been in my speeches. I wrote a book called Light, Bright, and Polite. I have 15 of them up here today. It's all I could squeeze in my suitcase, because it was kind of a last-minute flight here. And I'm going to share with you what this means, and I have 15 of them to give away to you guys today. And the 15 at the end that I give away, I'd love to take a photo with you, because I'm going to show you what I do with that photo. Did my mic just turn off, or can you guys? Oh, I'm loud. That's My mom says I talk too loud and too fast, so I apologize ahead of time. And then I'm developing a book for what I'll talk about today is social media safety and effectiveness for companies, which is where my heart's at. I'm writing a book next year on safety plus smart for kids, teenagers, and young professionals. And that's what I'm going to share with you today a little bit. So let's move on. Before we get started, here's me at USC, UCLA, and this is the coolest one. 19 Egyptian women flew in from Egypt to travel around Twitter, Facebook, Google offices, NASDAQ, and this organization that brought them in called us and said, Josh, it's really cool that all these big organizations invited us to let these women in, but unfortunately, they didn't teach us at all how to use the network. They said, oh, you can go to biz.google.com and learn how to use it. You see, the tactics behind getting to know the customer aren't always what these networks teach. So I'm going to show you some counterintuitive ways to do that, and I got to share it with all these women that are overseas now running their own businesses. They start nonprofits. Some of them are doctors and lawyers and so on. Before we get, I keep waiting for this next slide. I moved them around a little bit, some of the brands. 3 goals on social media. Everything that we do this morning or this afternoon, now that it is, I have 3 goals that I want you to always remember. This will last for 5 years for you. This isn't a fly-by-night. You're not going to get any buzzwords from me today. You're not going to hear me use words like strategy, become a part of the conversation, engagement. Everything we do today is business-oriented, customer-centric. So everything we do at the end of the month, I want you to ask, were we able to find new customers with our social media efforts? So if you're using a new technology for your little startup or for your firm, or you want to try something new, did we find new customers? 2, were we able to nurture existing relationships? Did we take somebody that already knows us and we're still keeping them top of mind? And number 3, at the end of every month, for any new programs you have, I want you to tie it all back to the bottom line. I want you to make sure that you're always improving. Failure is okay, but learn from it quickly and let's keep moving on. And these are some of the people I work with in LA and Dallas. Okay, before we get started, here's what I'd like you to do. I have 100 free videos for all of you in the audience. And I want you to go to MediaLeaders.com, pull out your phone, please. Go to MediaLeaders.com. I'm going to show you a technique. I already have all your email addresses. I don't really need them. But I want you to experience how I get data capture and I give stuff away. This costs you nothing. Go to MediaLeaders.com. Do you see up there at the top how it says get 100 free marketing videos? Wait 1 sec. When the whole thing loads, you'll see that. Click it. It'll scroll down and say join our list for 15 plus free tweets, videos, an ebook, and so on. And when you enter your info in there and put your drop down by city, it'll then pop up and say, great work, you'll hear from us in the next 15 minutes. And it will auto-deploy an email. I'll give you a sec to do that, and then I'll show you as we go through our website tips and techniques. I'm making it super easy. I'm giving you so much value that it works. All right. Did it not work? There's an error? That's embarrassing. Okay. I'll give you guys 1 sec to do that, and then we're going to move on. I'm going to move quick. Hopefully that error goes away. Usually things work perfect, but not when there's 90 people in the room. Did it work? Okay, great. All right. Now, rule number 1, email is the final destination. I know a lot of us love Facebook, we love Twitter, and a bunch of other networks that are all about buzz. The number 1 social network is email. We all check it every day, every hour. We're looking at that. That leads to purchases. I'm not going to talk much about Facebook today, but I want you to look at email as the end goal. Stop looking at Facebook, Twitter, all these new technologies as, oh, I'm going to blow my business up. That rarely ever happens. Email is very sustainable. So what I did for all of you is I gave you a ton of value. You'll look through the email that my system sends you. It gives away a bunch of data. 3 words to be safe and effective on social media. Number 1, in every message that you ever send out, I want you to always make sure that it's light. What does that mean, Josh? That means it's 100 characters or less. But Josh, I have 140 that I can send out on Twitter, and I have 300 on Facebook, 400 on LinkedIn. Doesn't matter. Your customer will only read 100 characters. And if you try and put down 700 and you say, oh, I'll win them over in the first 100, Josh, I'm that good of a writer, wrong. They'll skip over it and go, I'll read the next post. And they'll come back to it later, which means they'll never come back. So if it's less than 100 characters, check, you're good. Next, I want everything that you send out to be bright. That means it's so valuable that people will click on it and share it without you ever having to say, share this with friends. It's so good that sometimes you would charge for that type of data. You're building goodwill, it shines on its own. If it's bright, check. And last, everything that you send out digitally, even in an email from one person to another, should be polite. That means you are proud of it when that statement, that tweet, that Facebook post ends up on a billboard for thousands of people to see the next day. If it's polite, then check. It's light, bright, and polite, ready to send. Awesome. All right, let's move into the next one. Your posts. Every post is like a button on an elevator. You have your customers' or fans' attention. Is this going to take your brand up, or is it going to take them down? Because they will unsubscribe, they will get bored. You will then change a little bit of the way in which your company is viewed. Now, next, social media tactical tip. I want to show you this tactical tip because I want you to see how we lower the barrier to entry to some of our customers in our campaigns. I want you to always make it easy for your fans to click on every one of your links. What does that mean, Josh? Start by removing, whenever you can, the www on all of your links that are outbound. If they go to LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, start putting the HTTP instead. Here's an example of that. www.twitter.com/media leaders. Well, if you put HTTP in an email, in LinkedIn, in a YouTube below the video, you'll notice that it turns into an automatic hyperlink. Guess how much easier that second link is to click on and follow through into the network that I'm trying to get you to go. So it's going to create a hyperlink, and instead of including your little @media leaders or @Josh Ochs at the bottom of your email, try putting that HTTP. That way you can write one piece of messaging, put it in any of your documents, and every network will see it turn up into an auto call to action, as we call it. Because if you ever ask your customers, hey, copy and paste this into Google and go find us, too many steps. Customers are so busy, and all of you that have startups or that want to do anything that is a bit of a startup, when you're communicating with a customer and you're trying to explain a new technology, you better make it as easy as possible for them to follow you, visit your website, and so on. Okay, next. Facebook steps for success, but this works on Twitter, LinkedIn, websites, everything. I want you always, before you ever tweet for your company or your brand, and even for yourself, try crafting the message ahead of time in a separate document almost a week before you want to send it out. Oh, wait, Josh, I thought social media is a here and now. I wake up at 9 a.m. and I get in front of the computer, and for my brand or my company, I send it out right then and there because it's here and now, right? Wrong. I can get your brand into a lot of hot water, and it does frequently. So for some of the big brands that we get the opportunity to consult for and work on, we'll write it out a week ahead of time. It's going to reduce errors. It's going to keep you more on voice, on track. And also, if you write every day, you spend 30 minutes writing, and that adds up to 2.5 hours every business day total at the end of the week. But if you spend one day writing for the whole of next week because you have your calendar in front of you, you'll only spend an hour. So you're actually 2.5 times faster when you save a chunk of your time to write all of your communications out. What does that look like, Josh? Well, here's a formula you can use for just about every post. Always try and put an image in it whenever you can. We are visual creatures. So if you have an image, you're going to get a lot more retweets, comments, likes. It's going to pop out between the other posts. Next, a question. And here's where this gets interesting. Always ask a who, what, where, why question. Try not to ask a question that can be answered with a yes or no. Don't ask a question that says, do you like my shoes? Ask, what color shoes should we put in the front of our retail store, the red kind or the blue kind? Then all of a sudden, the consumer has an opinion. They are more inclined statistically to answer a who, what, where, why question than a question that can be answered with a yes or no. And then here's a copy of one of our engagement calendars, as you can see. Now, it's a little bit overwhelming, but everyone in this room probably has a Gmail address. And if you don't, you need to get one that has first name and last name, or first name dot last name. Because you can unlock an incredible power of tools under the hood on Gmail, including spreadsheets. Our whole company runs on spreadsheets. In fact, I don't ever want to really use Excel again. We have one client in the government that requires us to use Excel, and we don't even know how to use it because we're used to live spreadsheets that we can share with each team member. On the far left, we put a post topic. Each day, we send out 3 to 5 tweets for one of these brands because it's a fast-moving technology. As many of us know, we'll send out one topic, another topic, and another topic. We plan it out a week ahead of time. Next, I've got a date, a channel, a day, and a time. And then we write out the tweet. Now you're thinking to yourself, Josh, I never have time to do this. This is a best practice. If you want to blow your competition out of the water, I'm not that great at this stuff. I don't even think I'm a social media guy, but I can blow any social media expert out of the water. That's why I wrote my book. If you go through these techniques and try this, spend an hour a week ahead of time, write it out, and then have a colleague, a friend, a loved one, a family member look over your posts so you don't have any spelling errors, you're on topic. They'll ask any questions, like, what did you mean here? It doesn't make sense as an outsider. You will blow everybody out of the water with responses like crazy. Then in the next column, I have a link area. That's because I separated out. I want to know where my links are going. I want to test them. Everything's about testing. And then I have an auto character count, which is pretty easy to turn on. It's a little tiny formula in there. And last, is it scheduled? And then there's some other columns there that I forgot to screen grab. There's an approval column. It says, has it been approved by a second team member and a third? If you have a pretty successful company and you are the CEO, I want you to remember this next phrase. You can only expect what you inspect. Don't expect to blow up on social media if you don't inspect a lot of your tweets ahead of time. Don't have your intern write them or somebody else and expect to be great. Oh, they're running it, they're an expert. That's when a lot of failure happens. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We're not going to do the Facebook one because this isn't a video that we can give you in your email inbox. What I do want to do is, how many of us are on Twitter? Raise your hand. Great. I have a whole chapter dedicated to the world's best testimonials. I think when someone else says something nice about you, it's way nicer than you ever trying to sell yourself. In fact, I try and sell myself less and less every day. I tell clients at the end of a call, I say, look, don't trust me at all. And I say this verbatim every time. I go, look, don't trust me. I could be completely lying to you. Go look at my LinkedIn profile and my Twitter favorites and go see what our happy customers say. Please trust them. We've got over 95 LinkedIn recommendations, the old school ones where they have to write it out, not the new endorsement ones. And I tell my clients I could be a complete liar, and they are attracted to that. They say, wow, wow. Yeah, please go read what others say. Don't trust me. And they're impressed by that because then they start to look through and it sells them even more and more. Let me show you how to do this technique on Twitter. First of all, if somebody says something really nice about Succeed Faster today, Adam is getting a ton of great quotes. This is amazing. He's getting awesome pictures, happy stuff. The best quotes that Adam gets, he's then going to find those tweets and favorite them from the brand, from the @SucceedFaster Twitter handle. He'll favorite them and go, ooh, that's good. Then he'll immediately native retweet them so that people that land on the Succeed Faster Twitter profile will see not only his tweets, but other people saying amazing things. And his tweets and other people say it's peppered in with all these positive testimonials. Then at the end of the month or after this conference over, he'll go back to all of his favorites and he'll pick the best ones that have pictures and he'll embed them on the website. Because the anatomy of the world's best testimonials is their photo plus their words plus a way to contact them plus a photo that maybe they uploaded on your website talking about you. Like, look at this. We run Amtrak California's Twitter handle and Facebook, my view from the train, and there's a pic, right? They love it. They're happy. We favorited that, natively retweeted it, and then at the end we go back. Now the government's really slow thinking, so they don't like to really embed things that are positive. I'm kind of a mover and shaker there, and I have to be really careful what I suggest. But watch what we do, and I'm not even allowed to show this to the government. We tried to do a report that was awesome, that most private companies would like, but they shot this down. They're like, no, that doesn't mean anything. So what I'm going to show you, I think you'll get, because we're a little bit more forward thinking. Watch. So if you landed on Amtrak California's Twitter handle, once again, we're talking about testimonials here. I'm not saying Twitter is the right technology to be on, but I want to show you that testimonial is important. This works on LinkedIn. This works on your website and everywhere else. You have to have a purpose on every network. This purpose is pretty awesome for me, for Succeed Faster, and so on. Land on their site, and you see up there, you see the 80 number next to Amtrak California. That's one of their tweets. Go down a little. You see another person's tweet, natively retweeted. Their picture, their words are exactly replicated on the front of the profile. Duh, Josh, we get it. Okay, great. If you keep scrolling down, you'll scroll down on the left and scroll down on the right. You'll see that we send out tweets, and then we have natively retweeted other people. Peppered in here, in between our tweets, are other people saying amazing things. For instance, here's the goodies you get when you sit in business class on the Amtrak. Nice way to start a 3-day weekend. Somebody is taking a picture of maybe a beer they had. Usually I don't retweet beers because I have to keep it light, bright, and polite, and I want to always be safe. But they take pictures of snacks and so on. I favorite those. I natively retweet it. Then, as I'm natively retweeting all this stuff, what happens? Somebody says something like this. All these Amtrak California retweets with awesome photos make me start itching for a ride on Pacific Surfliners, which is the South train. I've done Chicago to LAX, but I've never done the coast. So people are discovering happy testimonials, great pictures. Let the testimonials and the happy customers sell for you. All right. I use this to promote my book. Now, my book is my own product, and I don't have a big backer. I don't have a publisher. I did this all on my own. And I designed my book counterintuitively, very carefully. I made a landing page. Because I don't have a publisher, I can give away chapter 1 100% free. Why would you do that, Josh? Because we're in the land of building goodwill. And in fact, my book, I would give it away. I'm going to give 15 of them away for free. If I had a bigger suitcase, I'd bring one of them for every one of you. But I make it so cheap and available, and I give away so much of it, and I'm giving you some of the content. You really don't have to have the book, and I've got free videos for you and everything. We're in the business of goodwill. When you give away a ton of your content, you start to build goodwill. People don't want to go anywhere else. And when you think that to yourself, well, why would I give this away? It turns out people will read your book, or they'll hear you talk, or they'll watch you teach them how to edit their own videos, and then when they get overwhelmed, they'll say, you know what, I learned from the expert, but I need to hire the expert. I don't have time. I need it done right the first time. You've made all the mistakes for me. Please teach me how to do it right. So here on the page, if you look down here in the middle on the left, you'll see Heather say, just finished reading this book. I embedded that as a tweet. I took the happy customers, saved it at the end of the month when I had to build a landing page for the book, which is scrappy and fun. I put testimonials. Now, if you scroll down, you'll see 4 more testimonials at the bottom. So if you're not sold on it yet, you get more and more and more. All right. Twitter testimonials. Okay, so at the end of each month, you can go back and take a look at your favorites. How many of us are going to use Twitter for our startup, if we do have a startup? If you have a B2C startup and you have an interaction with customers that then turn around and do this, this is a wonderful purpose to use Twitter. Twitter is not right for everybody. Facebook is not right for everybody. In fact, Facebook is quite a bit of waste of time. I wrote a book on Facebook, and it is a waste of time. Because when you earn a Facebook like, it's like putting $1 in your savings account. What do you mean, Josh? Well, if I went to Bank of America and said, hey, Bank of America, I'm going to give you $1 for the next 10 years every day of my life, and then I'm going to come back and I want to take all those thousands of dollars, those tens of thousands of dollars, and I want to put them down on a down payment of my home. I don't know what the home is, but I start saving now, right? Great, you have a startup, you don't know what you want to sell people, but you get them on Facebook now. Same theory. Facebook then says, okay, now when you want to activate all those likes, which you've paid so hard to earn, you worked hard, like the gentleman that was up here before me today, got all those likes, he gave you a ton of data and was awesome to you, and he earned the likes on his Facebook page. Facebook then says, how much are you willing to pay to post to get into all their feeds? Because now, as a brand, how many of us are administrators of a brand Facebook page? Not many. When you're an administrator of a brand's Facebook page, it's called a promoted post. And if you have 75,000 fans, which you work really hard for, each one of those is a penny or a dollar in the bucket, Facebook's now in the business of charging the brands to say, well, do you want access to all of them? Because if you post natively, you only get into 2% of the fans' feeds. Why is that, Josh? I thought I'd get into 100%. No. You see, Facebook wants to test your content to make sure it's sticky, to make sure it gets comments, likes, shares, and so on. And if it does, it puts it into another 2 or 3 or 4 or 5%. But now, because it's a publicly traded company and it wants money, they charge money to get into all the feeds. $50, $100, the CPM runs all over. But long story short, every network, you need to have an absolute purpose, otherwise don't waste your time. This is a fun purpose for Twitter. Okay, next. Let's look at some website stuff. How many of us are gonna have a website for our startup? Raise your hand. It really is the retail storefront of every business, right? Now, I'm not the world's best website guy. I don't think I'm the best at any of this, but I test it every day. We host a lot of networking events, webinars, panel discussions in Los Angeles. Every new city I go to, I say, I want to meet a ton of people. Let's host a free event. Let's go to a bar, which will give us their venue for free, and let's host a networking event. I'll build a landing page that's really scrappy, and I'll give people every reason to opt in, and I'll always tweak something. I'll try a new technology, I'll make it mobile friendly, I do all kinds of different stuff. Here's a webinar where I give away 7 Google Plus tips for 100% free. On the upper right, if you're not interested in the left, the webinar, on the upper right, you can see that you can opt in for 25 sample tweets and a dozen free videos. That's our opt-in widget. What is opt-in, Josh? That means people are opting in to get something cool from you because you want to give it to them for free. Remember how email is the final result? Because then I can get in your inbox at any time for free, when I want, how I want, and I can communicate what I want. Well, that's an opt-in widget. We get 1 to 2 to 5 people every day to opt in. Every one of you that has a startup, you need to think about what can you give away that's powerful, that's valuable, that'll capture information from customers. What do you mean, Josh? Well, Succeed Faster is a great example. If they wanted to ask people, jump on our list in the future, they could have a series of videos, perhaps these videos of the speakers, and say, get one of our speakers' videos from last year, and they have a little widget. Fill out your first name, your email, and maybe the city that you live in, and they could give away all the videos for free. Josh, why don't you ask for more information? Well, here's why. Most people would just ask for an email, and you've seen that. People that say, join our newsletter. Well, newsletters are dead. They're over. Because nobody wants to join your newsletter. What they do want is they want a real reason to join it. So let me walk you through this widget, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. Is that cool? I think this is really powerful for every startup. Here's why. First of all, you have a reason to opt in. So I want you to think about what is that reason. Do you have FAQs? Do you have something cool? Can you go shoot a scrappy video? Who's the gentleman that I spoke with this morning that wanted to do a beer thing? Is he here? What was your first name? Jacob. So Jacob and I were talking about a really neat startup idea he had on the dream board, which I really like, and I think it's great. You could shoot one of yours, 2 or 3 or 4, and give them away for free. All you do is you say, here's what you're going to get. Here, I need your first name, your email, and then you give them a submit button, but you name the submit button differently. Why do you need your first name? Well, here's why. You never greet somebody in an email with, hey there, or you never greet them by just telling them about you. It's always great to say, hi, Josh. I've got a great new episode of how to make beer at home. It's pretty cool. I don't think you've ever seen anything like this. I'm scrappy in my kitchen, and I discovered something that you can do on your own, too. That's how the email starts. You greeted me with my first name. It's personal. It's fun. Next, you got to get their email, obviously, because you have to communicate with them. And then last, you never put a submit button. You always give them a reason. What are they going to get? Why do they click that? It's human nature. We're always careful. What are we going to get? Send me the email. Show me how to make beer, XYZ, whatever it is. And then below that, one of the little techniques, there's a testimonial there. And testimonial says, I love getting these emails once a month and stuff like that, because then it gives people more of a reason, if they're hesitant, to go back up and fill the darn thing out. Statistical. This isn't magic. There's no secret black box here. It's just everything that you need in an email opt-in box. Now that is pretty scrappy. That's not the world's best, but it's tested, it works. Things don't have to be 100% beautiful, they have to be valuable. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Now, if you opt into anything on our website, and you as startups need to know this, in any business, if you opt into anything on our website, once I have you opt in, don't give up. Don't make them land on a page. Great, go check your inbox. No, you still have them as a captive audience. So the very next page after you opt into our free webinar, and I host webinars to build rapport, to give stuff away for free. But I also host webinars because I know the follow-up, the landing page, is an opportunity for me to sell to people or to opt in or to move them to a different network. So once you fill out my GoToMeeting, the landing page looks like this. It's an embedded version of our LinkedIn profile. I like LinkedIn a lot. I think it's a sleeping giant. Nobody's spending enough time on it. Here's why. Because people see me on LinkedIn in a professional manner. It's been around for 10 years. People are more willing to connect with me and look at my stuff. And it's a great chance for you guys to join my group, which is a whole nother email newsletter. You see, if I have you in email and I have you in a LinkedIn group, if you own the LinkedIn group, you can market to people. You could say, hey, LinkedIn group members, how's it going? I have a special offer just for you. We're doing something rad. It's not available. You get it a week early, something like that. So I have another way to get into that inbox, get past spam filters. Now, if I took it to the next step, is this making sense to anybody, the landing page? I showed this to a seasoned CEOs, a CEO group, 8 of them last week on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, and their eyes glazed over. So I don't want to move too quick. But you guys are all young, you get it. Once you opt in, you still like me, you want to join the next one, right? But what if I upgraded this landing page to look like this? And I love Google+. I'll tell you why in a minute. What if I updated it? You're going to get info from us in 15 minutes. Stay tuned. Now join us on Google+, follow us, and then go to the next step and join our LinkedIn group. Now you see how we're putting you through hurdles? Because you're already in love with Josh. For just a second, move into the next, right? It's a small window. And if you read my book or download it on ebook or you download chapter, I don't know what chapter it is, but the testimonial thing is when someone is in love with you, you get what you can from them, move it to the next step, be ready. This is that moment of love. They go, I love it, I want it, oh, I will join you, right? I'm glad that love thing gets everybody smiling. Now, if we take it to the third, I almost said the nerd step, which is definitely true. Step 1, step 2, take it to the third step. Now I feel like GoDaddy or Amazon.com, I'm upselling you, watch. Step 1, share this event, because once you register on a certain event for us, we get you to share it with a bunch of people. That's when you're happy. Invite your friends by clicking a few of those darn buttons. It shares the link to the front page of our site. So your friends click on a link, they go to the front page, they learn about the events, it's viral. Next, join us on Google+, and then next, learn about our next events. And I host little conferences that are one day, full of boot camps, full of tactics, so I've got you in next steps. And you would not believe how many people start clicking all those things because they like what they see, they want to be a part of the community. Every one of you startups can do this. You have all the tools. This is WordPress. Everyone in this room is in their 20s. You should be learning WordPress. If I can learn it in my 30s, you can learn it 5 times faster than me. You should learn HTML. You should learn WordPress, how to turn plugins on and off. You should be learning SEO, and I've got a website where you can go, and it is the best website for SEO. I also love lynda.com. I have a subscription to that. But this is super easy, and it's scrappy. This isn't professional with developers overseas. I'm going to skip through this for just a sec. Let's go into email bootcamp. How are we doing on time? 15 minutes? All right. I'm going to go quick on email, and then SEO, and then we haven't even done LinkedIn. I got to hustle. Sorry, guys. Let me give you one key takeaway on email. 1, greet people with their first name. 2, don't have too many images. That's the key. If I have to sum it up in 5 seconds, there you go. Let's move in real quick. So first of all, examples of real emails. I'm not picking on any brands. I love them. I learn from brands. They learn from me. We're all in the mistakes together. We're all here. A rising tide rises all boats. So I'm here to show you some examples. This is CES, Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas every year. They send out some big emails. Panasonic invites you. Looks cool, right? Guess what? I use Gmail or Google Apps. So do all of us in the room mostly. Guess what this looks like when it comes into Gmail? Look at that. What do you think your customer's going to do? I don't know who the heck these people are. I'm not going to accept that, because when you accept images and you're a little bit technical, you understand that the tracker, the spammer, then knows you opened it, and then you're screwed, right? So I'm not going to accept that. So learning experience. Don't put too many images. Here's another company. This is an app. Hey, we just upgraded our app, but guess what it looks like in Gmail? Not bad, right? You still get all the content in there. That's the learning experience from this. Once again, anything above the fold, and that's a lot of real estate. Make sure you're talking in the first person. Hey, Josh, we'd love to see you at CES. Here's the value you're going to get. Click here. Call to action above the fold. Marketing experiments. If you have a weekend and an iPad and you really want to sit on the couch and learn from the best of the best, these are the guys. Now, I'm not picking on them, but I'm a scrappy, customer-centric marketer. What's wrong with this? Well, it looks great. Call to action above the fold. View report. What does it look like in Gmail? The view report disappears. The call to action was an image. It's like, oh, sucks, right? Make that stuff text. Josh, how would you improve it? Well, here's how I would do that. This is our scrappy hybrid. It's all about the customer. You don't need a whole lot of money. We use Infusionsoft. I'm a partner of theirs. I coach a bunch of companies. Look in the upper left. Hey, Betsy, or hi, Betsy. Can you believe the holidays are almost here? Let's use this as a chance to celebrate. I want you to be the first to hear about our next event. Look at the call to action. Register here. Textual. Easy. It works on mobile. Works everywhere. The imagery in the upper right isn't activated, but it doesn't matter. If you do activate it, that's what it looks like. Doesn't change anything. But the next one, the confirmation email, is also another step to upsell. If you ever get emails as a startup, you should be thinking, what's going to be in that email, that confirmation email? I send something out like this, and this has worked very well for us. I hope you all adapt this, use it, run with it. First name, hello, first name, or hi, or dear. I don't like dear. I think it's a little too old school. You're registered, awesome. So it's a confirmation so that you never get email from them. They know what you're going to get from you. Next, please help us, because remember, they're in the window of love. They like me, they opted in, cool. Help me spread the word about this event by inviting your friends. Click here, one click to Google, Facebook, or whatever they are, whatever networks you want. Then if they want to turn the imagery on, that's what they get. See that? It doesn't require the imagery. Crucial. Let's move past this. LinkedIn tips. How many of us have checked in LinkedIn in the last week? All right. This is the sleeping giant. If there's one thing you learned from Josh today, it's that LinkedIn is the most important social network. But Josh, I have a B2C store and whatever. LinkedIn has been around for over 10 years. Do you know what that is in internet years? That's twice dog years. It's unbelievable. First of all, I'm going to give you a few tactical tips. I'm not going to show you how to use LinkedIn. I'm in the business of bringing you the counterintuitive stuff. No BS here. You need to have a great image. No reason why you don't have a great image. You're all young. You're all right thumb up attractive, right? So you should have a nice, clean image up there. Next, I want your first and last name clear. The way in which, now this is a counterintuitive trick. If you have a middle initial, consider getting rid of it if it's on LinkedIn. Why would you say that, Josh? Because it's harder to find you. And it's all about the customer finding you. If I was Joshua K. Ochs, which is my formal name, nobody's typing in Joshua. My business card, my book, everything says Josh Ochs. If you put the K in there, harder to find me. It looks like a different thing. So be smart about how you want to be found. What do people know you as? Go after that. That's step one. Step two, be honest and clear with your headline. I don't call myself a social media strategist. I don't like that term. I don't like social media expert. This industry that I'm talking about moves so quick. How could I ever be an expert? Changes every week, and I think that as soon as we're an expert in the online space that this is, that we get egotistical and we stop learning. So I just call myself a tester, a scientist, if you will. I'm breaking things daily and messing up and embarrassed. So I call myself a social media advisor. As you move down, this is where you all get the awesome chance to tell who you are. Now, you know that. This is the cover letter area that is your summary. The keys to this is, the keywords you use here, you should A, be really honest. B, you should be somewhat on topic. Because the keywords you use in here help you to get found. And you're all about being found because you're all about controlling the first page of Google, which we'll talk about in 1 minute. Josh, why would I use the right keywords there? Well, because you guys have all seen these little tiny endorsements, which are really annoying. Bill endorsed you for 17 different things. And if you haven't gotten those yet, once you start filling this out, you'll get some emails where at the top it says, what does Jacob know about beer? And Jacob's good in the beer industry, he's a great restaurateur and stuff. I'm not framing you as that, but he's a great content creator. It picks keywords from here. It puts them above your profile when somebody visits, and they click, yeah, I do know of them because of that, boom, boom, boom. Then, when other people land, they see this little endorsement thing, which is really annoying at the bottom, and you see a bunch of heads and stuff. So, bottom line, get this right. Be personal, be first person, say this is what I'm looking to do, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm great at, stand out from your competition. You can go read mine at a later date. I encourage all of you, let's connect on LinkedIn. I'm your friend here going forward. And I make myself available to all of you. If you want to set up a 15-minute phone call, I'll show you an automated way that I do that. We'll get on the phone. I'll give you some tips. All right. Next, this is where it gets good. I don't have time to tell the whole story, but I sat next to a gentleman on a flight and taught him how to use his cell phone. He said, I didn't know Google would do that. And I said, yeah. And I was in the center seat because I couldn't sleep anyways. So the gentleman next to me, he said, why does contacts.google work so well? I said, I don't know. Here's why. He said, I didn't even know that existed. I said, don't worry, I do a lot of forward-thinking stuff, and I'm usually a little bit ahead of the curve because I'm always trying to break things. He goes, no, I can't believe that actually works, or it exists. I said, don't worry about it. It's one of Google's new products. And he said, well, I work at Google. And so he didn't know. So that 5-hour flight where I taught this guy some tactical tips on how to run his personal business life, he said, you got to come work for us at Google. I'd love to have you on our team. I'm a VP in New York. You live in LA. Please interview with us. I said, dude, and I just started my firm. I said, I'll do it. Let's spend a couple hours on the phone. That guy gave me an unbelievable amount of time on the phone going over my LinkedIn profile. I'm sharing with you the tips that he gave me. Here we go. When I worked at Walt Disney Studios, up top, this is what the guy taught me. First of all, be honest with what you did on the first 2 lines. Assistant brand marketing associate at Disney. I wasn't a brand manager. Make sure it lines up. Otherwise, you're screwed. In a world of transparency, be careful. That first line has to line up. The second line, Walt Disney Studios / Buena Vista, my paycheck said Walt Disney on them. I worked in the Buena Vista department. Very easily explainable. Be honest. Next, Disney is the largest media and conglomerate in the world with revenues of $36.1 billion. Say what the heck your startup does, the business does. Don't say how great it is, just say what it does and how it serves the customer in 1 sentence or less than 100 characters. Key number 1, you don't get into your pitch, you just state it, boom. And if you didn't know Disney, that's what they do, great. Then move into your story about what you do there or what you've done. If you're trying to go get into sports entertainment marketing, or one of us wants to work in Disney, Andrea, right? Great. This is how you pitch it right here. Now, this isn't the only way. I'm not a headhunter. You have to check in with them. But this is the way I pitch every day. This is the way Google wanted me to pitch. Put your Disney was a wonderful experience. Here's the things that I learned. And then I get really secret in there. I put a testimonial in the bottom. I let somebody else do the selling. That's my my manager at Disney when I left. That's something nice she said in a letter as I was out the door. I left a lot of friends there. And so I plugged that in there. So you get to know me in a secret way. What we did, what my experience was, and here's the end cap, right? You can all do that. Get somebody at that company to say something, or even a customer, right? Next. This is the last tip in LinkedIn. As you log in the home screen, you see all this stuff in the feed. The coolest part is in the bottom right. 6 people viewed your photo. You click on that, and you can see the creepers that are looking at your photo, right? Okay, next. When you click on that, you see a bunch of people that looked at you. Don't follow up with them using LinkedIn. Instead, write a handwritten note card, get on the phone with them, figure out how to contact them using another network. I often will call somebody, hey, Steve, listen, Bill and I were at lunch. We thought about you. We wanted to chat about a project. Call me back. And those people will then follow up. They'll say, wow, you were top of mind. And then the last thing I had to show you up there was Google. Rule number 1, when you're logged into Google and it knows that you're in your G+ and you have your little headshot in the upper right, when you're Googling, you're not getting correct results. You're not seeing what other people see your startup as. I always want you to go into incognito mode. Incognito mode is in Chrome. In Firefox, it's called private browsing. It's very easy to find in the top. In fact, many of you have an inbox video in your inbox email from me. Always log out, check your results that way. You're going to see what the rest of the world sees. And that's it. Now, one last thing. I have books for about 15 to 17 of you. I'd love for some of you to come up and let's take a group photo if you don't mind. Is it appropriate if we do it now? Okay, great. Take a group photo. I'm going to ask, do we want to do photo and then Q&A? Let's do that. Let's do photo first.
That you had mentioned that you do a lot of free webinars,
Yeah.
but you also do paid webinars as well, correct?
We don't do any paid webinars.
You don't?
Not yet.
Okay.
We will someday. Yeah, we kind of have in the past, but most of them are free.
Okay, because my question then would be, how do you determine the price point and length for a paid webinar, but it doesn't sound like you're doing
I have a
that.
whole book for you on that.
Okay.
It's a long answer, but I do have a book. If you go to medialeaders.com/books, and they're in your inbox, if you signed up, I'm giving you a ton of value if you sign up for our newsletter. On the right-hand column, it says, read our 50 favorite books. It's a list of our books. One of them says, stop speaking for free, and it teaches you how to build webinars that are paid. Key number one, don't use the word webinar, because webinar has a free mentality to it. Call it online training.
Okay.
So when I hear webinar, I go, of course they're free, but I forgot to mention that to you. So that's a cool book that I learned from. It's $20, it's thin, but it's so valuable that it's worth the money.
Great, thank you.
In the back. Mailchimp.com, pretty easy, free for the first 2,000 emails. Aweber's great also, yeah. Aweber's automated, it's like Infusionsoft, but step down. Mailchimp's great, it's free, it's super simple. You can send out great newsletters, they're both awesome. I don't like Constant Contact. I think they spend more money on their marketing than they do their technology. Yes. What's the preferred ending? It doesn't matter. It's whatever your personality. The preferred ending is a PS and a PPS. People read PSs and PPSs more than they read the email. They'll scroll down to the bottom and it says, PS, here's your free ebook. Click here and download it. They'll read that every time. Try it, prove me wrong. It works for us all the time. Doesn't matter the rest. You just make it short and sweet. And put the PS as the sale, exactly as the sale message. They'll scroll to the bottom. One more question and then I'm going to wrap up to be respectful. Yes. Sorry, Courtney. Good. Look at a technology called Buffer app. I had a whole slide, but it's kind of fun to go shoot by the hip. I had a whole slide that had a bunch of tools, and if you click on the right-hand column of the email that you automatically got sent when you opt in, it says, here's our favorite products. One of them is Buffer, and one of them is Hootsuite. And after we deploy it and it gets spell checked and picked up by Google, which less than 24 hours, we'll tweet it a couple times, not just once. We'll do it a few times because there's other content in between there. Hey, I want to thank you all for letting me come out. I've gone over, so thanks for having me out.